Dirt is, in the context of the Bauhaus Study Rooms, is everything that you cannot explain. It is not the opposite of clean, but rather the opposite of orderly or structured. It can be the dust you find in the archive, the physicality of the documents, or the soil that you find in the ground.
Dirt is a gift, actually. As soon as we start to change the name or with which we refer to dirt, then we learn that it brings with it such intense kind of poetic, metaphoric, historical and political importance. So if we think about dirt, for example, as dust, then we can start thinking about how toxic dust is unequally distributed around the world and even within neighborhoods and cities. And so a question of environmental justice emerges. If we start to think of dirt as earth, then we realize that the stakes of thinking about earth or land, for example, the stakes of that have to do with indigenous rights, with extraction, with, you know, who has access and cares for the land. If we talk about soil, then we are amazed and enchanted by the marvelous variety and intelligence that is this kind of swarming multicellular thing. And we can think about compost as well. And that brings us to think, perhaps even through forms of theology or psychoanalysis or spirituality, about questions around how death is actually just the beginning of a new cycle, for example.
I think for me, it's about kind of rethinking research or the way we view structures and adding more playfulness and more experimentation within the way we do research or the way we explain the world. There's something about dirt that is about playfulness and about, in a way, thinking in terms that aren't necessarily colonial or capitalistic. We have to rethink the way we view the world, the way we reach out and do structures.
I think we have to reconsider our relationship with dirt, because our relationship with hygiene is really problematic and controversial over time. Now, of course, it's difficult and controversial in itself to be speaking about that just on the back end of a pandemic. But let us remind ourselves that the intelligence of the planet is such that the existence of dirt, the existence of non-cleanliness, is a fundamental aspect of the development of our resilience, of our immune system, for example. And so those projects, like modernist projects, really need to be rethought in the context of a new reality in which we realize that things, both metaphorically and really, cannot be pure or not pure. And there's, I think, a really important political question at stake there as well.
We learned that we can be more creative. We learned that there is more space for experimentation rather than always striving to innovate or to create something that is linear and create something that is very structured. I think experimenting with dirt or experimenting with that is not easily explained has great potential for finding new answers and new structures.
We might learn to be more resilient, to be more messy. We might learn something about how ecology and the environment and our relationship with the planet is one of infinite complexity and certainly one of care. We might start thinking about dirt through all these different aspects that we've spoken about. And we might start to develop new ways of being in the world, really post-anthropocentric ways of relating to the world. And that is really important because it brings with it questions around responsibility and care and obligation with it as well.